never done fly fishing before and they haven't done it in a river. The other important thing about this, it's always good, is that it's a great way to get people involved and figure out who's who. So the first thing I will do, I apologize for this, but I'm going to move to the back here, is I'm going to select 4 people to help me out. So the first thing I'm always going to pick is 2 people. Can you put yours over here down? And then I'm going to look at somebody who is half interested. You sit here, you sit here. And then I'm going to look around the room. And I'm looking for the person who's probably going to give me the most trouble. I'm looking for that crusty son of a bass fisher who knows it all, but is going to probably, and I'm going to ask him to participate.
After what I just said about you. All right, so I'm supposed to heckle. All right, then.
So remember, no judgment. I'm just trying to give them a basic overall feel of what's going on. So I will sit there, and we're going to do it this way. They want to know what it's like fishing in the river, or what do the fish do, in general terms. So I'm down here. I'm a trout. I'm a brown trout. So it's difficult for me to move from Mexico to the US. Okay. So I'm sitting in there, and they haven't done it before, so this is how it's going to work. So, and I try and engage them. So I'll sit there and I'll go. And I will give this person the widest latitude because I'm going to make them feel comfortable in the air. Okay. So, and only because that would be the person who's probably the most experienced fisher in the group and is interjecting all. What? Interjecting all. Yes, but he doesn't look like he sucked on all. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I picked
But
Sheldon
you look like
because
it.
he's my buddy. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, and this is how I do it. And I sit there and I go, okay, so let's say you're in a river, and I try to loosen them up because they're always tense. So let's do this. Everybody wave your arms. Okay, not the Hawaiian dance, but faster. You are the river.
Like this?
Going fast, going fast, going fast.
Whatever.
Yes, and he's going to fold his arms because he doesn't want to do anything, and we'll deal with that later. So, okay, so now here's what I'm telling you. So here's what I'm going to say. When you're in the river, in general terms, water is moving fast on top and slower on the sides. It's a little slower on the sides because you've got all the vegetation there. It's shallower. And I'm a trout, I'm in the river, okay? And in the middle of the river is a giant rock, big rock. And that rock, for the rest of the, is going to sit there with their arms folded like that. And now I've removed them from the
But
equation.
where is the trout?
Yes, so where is the trout in the river? All the streams coming this way. Where do you think I want to be to conserve my energy?
Behind the rock.
Behind the rock, okay? So now water is going slower behind the rock, okay? So there've never been trout fishing.
You're a brown trout?
I'm a brown trout.
You're in front of the rock.
Okay, I'm a rainbow trout. Okay. I'm a rainbow trout.
All right, you got rainbow, fine, down the
I'm a
side.
rainbow now.
That's why he chose you.
Yeah.
See, I've got all the colors here. I'm a rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm sitting here, and here's basically how fishing works, okay? I'm here, and it's a binary response. Things are coming along. So I'll sit there, something comes along, it's a rock, I don't like that, I'll spit it out. Comes again, it's a stone, it's wood, spit it out. Bugs start coming by, aquatic insects, and to me, they're like French fries. And so now I'm gonna go, and then I throw a nice little partridge fly, partridge hackle fly, comes along, and you get it. So that's basically, in a nutshell, in a general way, how it works. Then, to answer the questions of which fly do I use, which one is best? Okay, well, different circumstances. So, if the fish is coming like this, and bursting out of the water, leaping out of the water, what do you think, where is it hitting the instep?
On the surface.
On the surface. And it's coming right out because it's hitting it so fast it's breaking the surface tension. Either that or lack of oxygen. If the fish comes like this and it turns on its side, what do you think's happening, Jack?
It's either taking the subsurface emergers or drifting nukes.
That's exactly right. So it may be something emerging or something, but you know you can kind of see where it's in the zone. And if it's right on the bottom, we're going to put something heavy and drag it there. So when we're using flies, if it's coming out of the water, we may use a dry fly or a wet fly just to slow the surface. Just a little lower down, something a little heavier, and we're going to vary the strip. If it's right on the bottom, something heavier, and we might drag it like one shellfish crayfish. And now is when I usually throw in 3 facts, because I'll always have somebody over here who's a vegetarian who wants to tell me about fish and everything like that. And it's usually a woman, and I'm not criticizing, but I'm just saying. And then I will throw in 3 facts. Also, I've got children. I will say, hey, sturgeon can live up to 150 years. Fish have no eyelids except for sharks. And that shiny substance in lipstick or makeup is crystalline white, which is made up of crushed up fish scales. And that's when I get the face. And they will never think about makeup the same way.
That's right.
And that's basically, in a nutshell, I covered certain things with them so they have a general idea of what we're doing. So one of the things that we discovered was to limit the materials. And whenever I'm doing a new tying session, I limit the materials, I try to keep it to compact materials, and I try to emphasize one thing out of the whole session that goes away, which takes us into our next session, Not So Fun, in which we are now going to start tying, and we're going to tie a mop fly. And my emphasis for people, and especially the new people, I'm going to ask somebody to go around and help them, is that I'll show you how to bind down the material, but my takeaway is I'm hoping when somebody new is there, at least they get the knots, okay? Because they're not going to get everything. The selection of material, all this, it's just too hard. Okay, are we ready to start? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is, if everybody has a hook, and I apologize for those of you who know how to do this, you're going to take the bead and you're going to put it on the hook. And I've chosen very big beads, so they should go on without having to pinch the barb down. Okay. So we're now going to wrap the thread around the hook, because without it, it's slippery, and we need a base on there so we can attach materials. We're going to put it on like this. We're going to hold the bobbin parallel, and we're going to go around in a clockwise fashion. Now, when working with kids, they don't understand sometimes what clockwise is. So I always tell them, it's like if you're eating soup, you're going to do it this way. If you're eating cereal, it's going to do this way. If you are reeling in a fish, you're going to go this way. So that covers right-handers and left-handers. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to continue to wrap around here behind the bead so I can secure the bead in. And then, holding the thread here, I will advance it, I'll move the thread and tie it back here. And when I'm here, just for fun, I'm going to introduce them to the jam knot. And what the jam knot basically is locking material 2 behind and 2 in front. And that secures the material in. You don't have to do this. The more you tie, the less knots you want to put in. But I want to introduce it at that time so they understand that that's the way we secure materials. And I will keep introducing it as you go along so they at least learn that. So now we keep wrapping the thread around. There's even tension on it so you don't snap it. And you move to the back of the hook. I pull the thread out here so it makes it a little easier for me to guide the thread. and we're going to wrap back just a little bit beyond the point of the hook. It's right about here. Now you may have seen this fly before because Elliot Dayton did it. I do it just a little differently. Is we're going to take the open hand, we're going to use our nails, and we're going to peel off just a little less than a centimeter so that the threads are exposed. Now, you see where I placed it? Just about 2/3 down the hook, and when we're securing it, we usually do it, I put it on first so you can see, we do 2 loose wraps and then pull down to secure it on. All right. So now the difference is now, and this is what we were doing with new tires, and this is actually something Dean came across when we were doing the scouts together, is now we're going to attach this material on, this Chanel. Has everybody got a piece, something like this, any color? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it on the hook from the bead back to where the mop part of the fly is, because this was cut from a mop. And then we're going to do 2 loose wraps and then pull it down. I'm going to do that again. 2 loose ones and then pull it down. Are we good?
Just behind the.
Right behind the bead?
Right between, no, we're putting the material here, sorry, running it back,
All right.
and right back to where the tail is. Next step, we're going to hold the material up again. We're going to hold it up like this, if you're right-handed in your right hand, and left-handed in your left hand. And we're going to do another jam knot. You know, 1, twice behind, so it's in between here and there, and then 2 in front. And what that does is it locks the material in. Okay. And once we do that, then we're going to take the thread and lash down that other material, running it back and forth, and then we're going to stop just behind the bead. Now, have we got this on yet? Okay, so now we're going to use something called the hand over hand technique. And what that basically is this. We're going to move the bobbin out of the way. If you're right-handed, you take your right hand and start it. If you're left-handed, you take your left hand. And you take the right hand and you bring the material around the front and then grab it with the left hand while maintaining tension and wrap it around like that. And then we continue advancing it forward. You can straighten the tail if it's rotating. And keep wrapping it around in an even wrap. And we're building a nice body on it. Until we get to just behind the bead at the front. Now, in practice, we always hold the material above the fly, so that way we're not going to accidentally, when we end up cutting the material later on, cutting the thread. So anybody guess what I'm going to ask you to do right now with the thread? Before that, to lock it in. 2 behind, 2 in front. Can I get everybody to say that? Everybody at once. 2 behind, 2 in front. A little louder. Okay, in hunting terms, it's double tap, or zombie apocalypse terms, double tap if you're playing video games. 2 behind, and 2 in front. Once that's done, we're going to trim the material off here. So what I'm going to use is this straw here. And what happens is, I've cut the straw at an angle, and then I've snipped the top off here.
Put it in the camera.
I will. See that? I'm gonna do that again. Cut it off like that. See it at an angle? And the reason I've done this is when you're tying behind a bead or a small, and you want to get it there, then I'm going to take it now, wrap it around once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and then I can put it right at the top, and then slip it right down. And I pull down, and that's the finishing knot. You can do it with a smooth side if you want. Pull it down. I'm going to show you one other option. Just reminded me. The other option is a half hitch. Take the loop, put it back here, reverse it in, tie it down. You do 2 of those, it'll lock it in. When I'm usually tying my flies, I usually do 2 half hitches, and then whip finish, and they never come apart. Now I was selling it to people and they told me, Brian, your flies never come apart, so now I start removing the 2 half hitches. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold down the